So it's been a while. It's been about maybe 3 weeks to a month that I haven't done a video. I had to undergo some changes, but also had to reevaluate a lot of things because I found that I was just kind of doing this to do it. And if it was up to me, it's not like I'm doing it, I'm not doing it for myself. So it's easy for me to not do it. But yeah, I had to remind myself that it's not really about me. I feel that my perspective is valuable and should be put out there. It would be selfish of me to not put it out there. With that said, welcome to episode 51, Slaughterhouse. Joel Ortiz, Joe Budden, Royce the 5'9", Crooked Eye. These guys, to me, before they teamed up, coming from the background that I come from, were not the most lyrical guys. Not by my standard. You gotta remember, I'm listening to A$AP Rock, just Def Jux in general, Pharoah Monch, Tone Deaf, just advanced lyricism. I'm from the New York City underground, But when those four artists came together, they seemed to have stepped it up a notch. It seemed that each individual was bringing out the best in one another. You seen a different Royce. You got a Royce that you never got before. I was familiar with Crooked Eye, but it wasn't like I was ever listening to Crooked Eye. But Crooked Eye, Slaughterhouse was kind of my introduction to Crooked Eye. Of course, I knew of him. I knew he was nice, but when I started listening to the Slaughterhouse, it was like, this motherfucker. Like, I found that I wanted to memorize his verses and kick them. I loved them so much. And it was the same with Royce. I really enjoyed all of them. Joel Ortiz was, for me, he was up there, but it almost seemed that he's choosing when to really turn it up and when to kind of keep it at a certain volume, skill-wise. He clearly was able to do what the rest of them were doing, but it was just a matter of whether he would decide to or not. That's what I got from Joel Ortiz. Joe Budden, out of all of them artistically, I think was the most developed songwriter. I believe that he was, when you listen to his music, it sounds like well-developed, full-fledged songs. The other guys, Royce in particular, you can see through a lot of his projects, he was making that transition from an MC to a songwriter. And a lot of the songs, he still had the MC thing going on. Maybe I'll do a video addressing and going into detail as to what I mean about that. The first Slaughterhouse album, I wasn't really too crazy about. It felt a little manufactured. It felt, if we get all the right pieces and just kind of put it together, then we can have, I don't know, like here's four lyrical guys attempt at what, an appealing album. That's the feel that I got from it. But the mixtape, the mixtape and Royce's, a lot of Royce stuff and just, particular verses on things were phenomenal. I really would go on to enjoy a lot of Joe Budden stuff. I thought the Rage album, The Rage in the Machine, was a great album. And I would listen to a lot of Royce as well. I would listen to it, but I was listening to it for the skill fact. It wasn't like, you know, for me that Royce was making these classic songs where he would eventually evolve into that with Book of Ryan and Allegory. Fast forward, the group breaks up for whatever the reason is, and I have my opinion on what it is from an outsider. From what I can see, it seems that most of it was Joe's fault, but I try not to get too much into that. I try to stick to the art on this, but from as an outsider, right, that's what it seems to be, taking in everyone's side of the story. The group splits up, and what do we get? We get some real treats. We get this album from Joel and from Crooked I. Phenomenal. This is a five-star project. For me, for what I need to get out of music, this is a 5-star project. Then it brings me to Crooked's solo album. And I realize that it's like, this might be my favorite rapper. From the beats he picks, the way he attacks it, this for me is like, that's what it. If you want to know what an album of no skipping feels like, right? For me, for what I require, for my taste, what I need to get out of hip hop music, that's the last Crooked I album. That's what that is for me. I can listen. I have to stop myself from listening because you don't want to play it out. You absorb it, and then you can't get anything from it anymore. So I have to kind of stop, you know, like a kid. Like you're gonna keep eating you got to stop yourself. You hear the difference between the first collaborative effort between Joel and Crooked. You hear that album, and then you hear the latest, and you see the difference in what I was mentioning earlier. On that album, you hear two lyrical guys coming together, putting their verses on beats, and just, you know, seeing what they can come up with and seeing if it'll work. There's no magic there. It just doesn't happen. It's stale. It's not. It's just that essence that makes something special for whatever reason is just not there. The magic is not there in that project. You're gonna get good verses because these guys cannot rap without being good. It's just like, you understand? Like the pigeon's gonna do this when it walks. These guys are not gonna not be good. So there's that element. But good, it doesn't cut it when it comes to making music. There's something unspoken that has to be there. The stars have to align. And that's what you get with this latest album. Then, after I'm listening to that, I hear something from an unreleased song with Joe and Royce. And Royce is a 5-star MC. Okay, Royce is, he's up there with the best of them. Royce, Crooked, M. For me, this is, you know, this is what it is for me. I'm one of those people. But these guys in particular, Royce and Crooked, they're able to be lyrical without being corny. Sometimes MCs, they have a skill set, but the feel is just, yeah, I don't want to listen to that. You don't feel cool. I'm gonna blast this in my car. You know, I don't have that problem when I'm fucking with them. Some of them shit, he's joking around, he's fucking around, all right, whatever. But when them is serious, you know, like the COVID track. They say these bells are like COVID. You get them right off the bat. Like shit is rock with that. Play that loud in the car. You know, Royce, he is a top notch. Like, it's like the best way to describe it is this. It's like the fine dining, okay? The fine dining, the finest cuisine that you could, you know, when you go to that restaurant and you want that 5-star, that shit that you can't get anywhere, that's what these guys give you. My prediction is that all of this will pass and blow over, and they will work together. I believe that, you know, maybe we get some stuff from Joe and Royce, okay? Or Royce, if not Joe. But I do believe these things had to happen, and it will ultimately bring these guys back together. I don't want to skip over Joel. Joel is very New York, okay? New Yorkers are straightforward. We're straightforward in the way that we address things, our emotions, even our graffiti is very straightforward and to the point. That's New York style. Joel is one of them rappers. He's very, you know, I'm going to get this point across in as plainly as a fashion as I possibly can. I'm going to decorate a little bit. You're going to see that I'm nice, but it's really about what I'm saying to you. This is what I get from Joel. But now, when you hear Joel with Crooked on this album, you hear, the same as the other ones as well, you see when Joel wants to turn it up and he starts patternizing. And it, it just goes together so beautifully. In my opinion, Crooked is he's a show stealer. He steals the show. When Crooked does a verse, he's kind of got that M factor going on, you know? And when you listen to but it's not to take away from anybody else, and it's not to take away from Joel. It's not to say that, you know, it just, for me, it seems that when Crooked comes on, you know what I mean? He's going to do something that's going to be a bit more standout, right? And on the Slaughterhouse albums, I think there was times where each of them had those moments where they would be a bit more standout. In particular, the Slaughterhouse around the mixtape days, Royce the 5'9" was standing out, but what was standing out about Royce, right, aside from the skill set, was his humor. I really appreciated, you know, he would say, I mean, if you hear the Vagina song, that's a great song. If you, but he would say he would do the Clay Davis impersonation, shit, you know, the flows, the way he would floss the flows. I'm married to a bottle of Patron wearing a wedding dress, y'all niggas, like, there was so much character and so much humor, like, these elements, like, these are things that not your average MC is tapping into and knows how to really illustrate and bring forward in a way that you know, really hits hits the mark. And Royce was showing that quality in a lot of the early work. But what a phenomenal group of people. Out of all of them, on a skill level, on a rapidy technical MC level, it's my opinion that Joe is the weakest link. But as a songwriter, for me, I would think that Joe is one of the stronger among them, you know. But Crooked I, boy oh boy, he's really, when you listen to the last Crooked I album, and it's unfortunate that I hear he's doing one more and then he's gonna stop, because it seems to me that he's really starting to grow into his element. For him, I'm sure he feels like he's been doing this forever, because he has, but I think here's where he can start to really take off and you know what I mean? Maybe go head to head with M. I don't know. M is, it's another conversation, but Crooked he's in that atmosphere. Okay, he's there. I love Crooked Eye shit. So Crooked Eye, he's got that song element too. But Joe, when it comes to writing a song, Joe gets to the meat and potatoes of it. Joe focuses on the elements that matter the most. He's not on a mission to display the skill set. It's there, but it doesn't compromise the he's going to have his flow, he's going to have his patterns, and he's going to have his content. And it's just all going to be a very tightly, you're going to forget. The elements of a good hip hop song is when you forget that, or it goes unnoticed that you're listening to a rapper rap. Once you start noticing how good the rapper is rapping, you're not lost in a song. That doesn't happen with Joe. So but anyway, I'm 16 minutes. This is gonna have to be part one. I think I'm gonna do a whole little series on Slaughterhouse because I want to dive deeper into this whole thing. I'm happy to be back. I have to show up for you guys. It's not about me. I know what I know. I'm not learning anything new. But I think it's important for me to put these perspectives out there because I don't know how much of it is actually out there. So it's good to be back. See you on the next one.